So for the multitude, the breaking of the fifth seal is a good thing because that's the escape. But it's not such a good thing for the two witnesses or the 144,000 because the Bible says that they stay through the tribulation. They're sealed for protection, but they stay through that. They don't go to the safe place like the multitude. And the Bible also says the asteroid will hit after a 1260 day or year period. It hits at the end of the tribulation. So, which we know is a 1260 day or year period. And Revelation 12 indicates that it's a 1260 year period that asteroid will hit, because that will start a 1260 day period. And the reason it says that is because we'll just go through it really quick. It says, and if you want to know more about this chart, I think it's in the video Asteroid Timeline in the Bible. It's linked below in the playlist called Bible Prophecy Fulfilled. But Revelation 12 tells us that first there's this sign that appears in heaven, then the woman will escape, which that represents the multitude. The woman will escape at the start of a 1260 day period, which we also know can be years. Then after that, the dragon will persecute the woman. And then it mentions the escape again. This time it's described as a time, times, and half a time. So the reason that the second time period in Revelation 12 is described differently may be because it's actually a 1260 day period of 3.5 years. So a time being 1 year, times being 2 years, and half a time being half a year, so 3.5 years. Whereas this up here is 1260 days, which can also mean, we know, 1260 years. A day for a year, because that's what it says in the biblical text. And also in Revelation 12, it tells us that when the woman escapes, here at the end of Revelation 12, that a flood will occur. And again, we know that flood is described in the book of Revelation as an asteroid impact, an asteroid hitting the sea. And that flood is also mentioned in Daniel 9, and we're told that it occurs after the standing of the idol of terror, which some people know as the abomination of desolation. It's a different translation, same words, same meanings, just different translation. But the idol of terror occurred right here. It says the flood will occur in the midst of the 7 years, right here. And again, Revelation says that it will occur at the end of a 1260 day or year period. So I just don't know how all of this can possibly line up like this again. I mean, all of these fulfillments that are exactly according to the way it was written. I mean, it's unbelievable to me, and sad too, because so many people are unaware of this. And they're going to be taken completely by surprise, just like it says in 2 Thessalonians 2, because they didn't receive the truth. It says right here, because they didn't love the truth, they didn't listen to the truth. For that reason, God will send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie, and that all those who didn't believe the truth will be damned. So, and it's a large number of people. Jesus told us, there are other scriptures that say it's actually the majority of people are not going to listen. Many are called, but few are chosen. So it's the larger number of people that are not going to listen to the truth. They're not going to know what it's going to take them by surprise, just like it says right here, the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. That's the day of the Lord, is the asteroid impact. We talk about that in the video Asteroid When Where. We talk about it in the 7 Trumpets video. So when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come up upon them. Again, that peace thing, the UN, they worship the beast, the maker of peace, the UN. But then it says, but you, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief, because God did not appoint us to wrath. So the large majority of people out there are completely unaware of all of the fulfillments that have been happening recently. the lie, the strong delusion, it appears to be that the tribulation, okay, so this is the majority, because it's the majority that believe in the lie. It tells us that. And because we know there are 2 billion Christians on the planet right now, there are 2 billion people that claim to be Christian. And what they, for the most part, believe is that the tribulation, they think the tribulation is a period of 7 years, and that it can't start until a man proclaims himself God in a rebuilt Jewish temple after a peace covenant is signed between Israel and Palestine. And that's not what the texts say. That's not what the Bible says. It's been interpreted that way for hundreds of years. But that's the strong delusion that 2 billion people believe. So the 5,000 people that watch our videos here, that's not the majority. That's an extreme minority of people that understand that these fulfillments right here in this chart actually really did happen. It's a tiny, tiny minority compared to the 2 billion people out there who think that, oh, the abomination of desolation hasn't happened yet. It's a man that stands in a temple that has to be rebuilt in Jerusalem. So they think it's a long way off, or maybe they think it's a couple years down the road. It's right here. We are right here in the middle of the 7 years that Daniel talked about. We are right in the middle of it. And this right here is a clip from my ebook, which I go into detail and I show you the definitions of 2 Thessalonians 2:4, for example. And I have other videos on it as well, but it's right here. What it says is, these definitions, these are the definitions of the Hebrew words right here. God's representative, a thing of God, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called a thing of God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God's representative, sits in the temple of a God, showing himself that he is God's representative. That is the popes. That it already happened. The popes made the 2 Thessalonians 2 proclamation a long time ago. It's nothing new. And it's the popes who claim that they are God's representative on the earth. They sit in their throne in the heathen temple, which is exactly what the meaning of that word in 2 Thessalonians is. It's a heathen temple. It does not say that it has to be the Jewish temple. It's also a heathen temple. So, and the peace covenant that everybody think has to be between Israel and Palestine, it didn't happen between Israel and Palestine. It happened between the whole world. So, and the man that confirmed that covenant after 62 Shavuots at the start of the 7-year period is the man that is referred to as Messiah in Daniel, because that is the exact title he's been given by the media. See, that's what it's about in Daniel. Daniel always speaks in code. You know, it's the lion, the leopard, the bear. He's talking about governments and people in a code language. And it's always something that you can identify the person by. And that's what that is. So he won the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, for his promotion of the UN Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty right here. 62 Shavuots after the 1947 UN decision to partition Palestine. And 1,290 days, Daniel 12, 1,290 days after he took the oath of office right here, which is exactly what it says, the idol of terror was placed in the One World Trade Center. Most Christians will know that as the abomination of desolation, but it actually means idol of terror. It was placed right here in the midst of the 7 years. So I'm begging you, if you're new to this, to please watch the playlist or just a couple of the videos. They're short in the playlist, Bible Prophecy Fulfilled 2009 through 2012, and What is Next. It's linked below this video. I'm begging you to please watch that if you haven't already. Because this right here is the truth. But what the majority of people, only about 5,000 or 6,000 people are paying attention to this. The lie that it talks about, the strong delusion, is what 2 billion Christians believe right now, which they think that none of these things have happened yet, and they haven't. And that's why it's going to come upon them like a thief in the night. They're going to be completely shocked and taken by surprise because the churches are not teaching them the truth. The churches are working for the beast. We've talked about that in the last video. It's unfortunate but true. Most of them are. So, the first 4 seals have already broken. We've talked about that. The horsemen of the apocalypse, all 4 horsemen, are running strong right now. They're already here. And this 4th one that so many Christians think, you know, the pale horse of death, they think in their mind, because they haven't really studied the text themselves. They think in their mind that it's the whole earth. Oh, that's whenever everybody dies. No, that's not what that is. This is only 1/4 of the earth. It clearly says that. This is 1/4 of the earth. It's happening right now. The pale horse is happening right now, riding right now. If you were living over there in Africa or the Middle East, you'd know that. I mean, you'd feel it. You know what I mean? But it is happening. It's happening right now. So the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are running strong right now. It's here. And the CEO of the IMF all but told us something is planned for this year. On the first day of our watch period in January. I mean, she said 2014 is a milestone year. And did you also notice that she said she didn't know if it would be the G7 or the G20? Well, the G7 has been known as the G8 since 1998. And the suspension of Russia's participation in the 2014 G8 summit, that didn't occur until March of 2014. So the CEO of the IMF seems to have known back in January that it would be a G7 again this year in 2014 instead of a G8. So I'll just play that clip real quick.
So my hope and my wish for 2014 is that after those 7 miserable years, weak and fragile, we have 7 strong years. Now, I don't know whether the G7 will have anything to do with it, or whether it will be the G20. I certainly hope that the IMF will have something to do with it.
So she knew it would be a G7 this year before anybody else did. Well, not really very surprising. They had it all planned out. But the G7 occurred with Russia not present, occurred exactly on the standard Jewish feast of Shavuot this year. And then the Israeli war went into high swing during our major watch during the World Cup games. And the 70th anniversary of the birth of the International Monetary Fund, which was the first order of business for the UN, that anniversary started on the first true day of true Shavuot, right here. And during what the IMF CEO implies is the 7th month, the 70th anniversary of the UN Foundation will begin on August 21st. So I would say our next watch begins at that time on the 21st of August, when that 70th anniversary of the beast starts, lasting all the way through September until the fall feast in October, which lead into the true fall feasts in November. And the next feast to be fulfilled is Atonement. We've talked about that. It's not trumpets. It's the sign of trumpets occurred on True Trumpets in 2012. So that already happened. The fulfillment of trumpets already happened. It was the sign of Revelation 12. It occurred in 2012. And the next fulfillment of the appointed times is due to be Atonement, and my guess is that it'll occur on True Atonement, not the standard calendar, because we know that the standard calendar was changed and doesn't follow what the biblical texts lay out. The times, he will change the times. So True Atonement this year falls on exactly on Halloween and November 1st, because the appointed times start in the evening. So literally the evening of All Hallows Eve will be Atonement this year. Okay, I'm going to start the final part 4 right here.